pulled it over her head. No use in making more of those freckles. When she was younger, running around in the sun, unconcerned about a smattering of freckles, she found ample adventure on her family ranch with her multitude of cousins. She'd grown up as independent and as free as her brothers or any of the boy cousins. But as she matured, she realized that adventure came in many forms, and a young lady could find better amusements than wrestling matches and throwing competitions. Just outside her family's ranch was enough excitement to flip a corpse. Joplin had it all: society, music, and wealth. Unfortunately, it also contained a former beau of hers, and her family was determined that she not see him again. Maisie wholeheartedly agreed. "I ain't taking you all the way to the soda fountain," Amos said. "There's stretching the rules, and then there's pure stupidity." "Then where are we headed?" Hank asked, then answered his own question. "We can go to Daniel's Drug and Miscellany. They've got shaved ice." Amos grunted his approval, and Maisie propped her boot up on the side of the wagon bed to tighten a shoelace that had worked loose. She'd always thought Granny Laura was exaggerating when she talked about how Joplin could turn a girl's head plumb backward. Maisie had never believed her, but when her cousin Callista came from Kansas City, Maisie was sent to stay with her in town as a chaperone. Some chaperone she'd turned out to be. Before she'd gotten her bearings, she'd fallen as love-sick as a turtle dove with measles, and had decided that she'd be Silas's wife someday. If Callista hadn't overheard a young lady at the children's home, Maisie might never have known that Silas had sired children around the country. She tugged on the shoelace, then whipped it into a tight bow. Maisie had always thought of herself as tough and savvy, but it turned out she was neither. Silas's deception had shown her that her faith in him was misplaced, but so was her faith in her own discernment. If only she could be like Callista, get herself an exciting job with the Pinkertons, and travel the country hunting down crooks and no-accounts. Course, Callista had stopped that when she'd realized she was hunting with the wrong dogs, but Maisie still envied her adventures. The mercantile appeared as they rounded the bend. The three Kentworths scanned the premises before rolling any closer, getting a feel for who they might encounter at the store. Not that they were worried about being tattled on. They were adults, after all. But sometimes life was easier if news of certain decisions they made didn't travel back to the Kentworth ranch. "It's clear," Maisie said. "Prissy Jones is out of town, and I don't see any sign of the Grosgrain family. No one else would bother to snitch." "It's you that has to worry," said Amos. "Nothing wrong with Hank and me coming to town." "Except you brought me," she said. "That makes you complicit." "How do you figure?" Hank asked, his voice as level as his gaze. "Because they've already determined that I have no sense. You're supposed to watch over me." "If they're looking for someone responsible to keep an eye on you, they're barking up the wrong tree." Hank nodded toward Amos. "I say they get what they deserve." Easy for Hank to say. Granny Laura was only his aunt, and not likely to tan his hide. Amid a debate over who should pony up for the ices, Hank and Amos got distracted by a weak bleating from behind the store. "What do you reckon that's Wheeler's two-headed lamb?" Amos grinned so big that his dimples drilled into his cheeks. "I heard he was bringing it to town." Even Hank seemed to light up. "Now that would be something to see," he allowed. "Let's go." He followed Amos around the outside of the drugstore. "Hurry," Maisie called. "If we're gone too long, the folks are going to suspicion us." She had seen enough carnival acts that she was hard to impress. The pity she felt for the animals wasn't worth the curiosity.